Hey guys, I'm back again with a late night recording. Going to be talking about the Mario Kart World roster, something I've been thinking a whole lot about, and I got some things I'd like to talk about. We're going to talk about the returning characters, we're going to talk about the new characters, and we're going to talk about some characters that I think would be good. And I'm going to try and possibly edit this video, which might delay it by a day or two, which sucks, but we're going to see how it goes. So. Let's start off with the returning characters, okay? So the returning characters we have, I'm just going to read off the list and we'll talk about it as we go. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Rosalina, Pauline, Toad, Toadette, Yoshi, Birdo, Wario, Waluigi, Donkey Kong, Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Baby Peach, Baby Daisy, Baby Rosalina, Bowser, Bowser Jr., King Boo, Koopa Troopa, Dry Bones, Lakitu, Shy Guy, and Wiggler. Those are all of the returning characters. Now, I think this is a phenomenal character lineup. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the babies. I honestly think they could have kept Baby Mario and Baby Luigi and maybe axed the other three in exchange for some different characters. But hey, you know, we take the good with the bad. There's a hell of a lot of good in this roster. So, we take it as we see it. You have all the classics, you know, the Mario brothers, the princesses. Pauline returning is very, very cool. Very glad Pauline gets to return from Tour and 8 Deluxe. That's very nice. Notable characters that are back. King Boo's back. That's very good. Dry Bones is back. Very good. Personally, I'm a huge Wiggler fan. Wiggler is my favorite character in Mario Kart 8. And Mario Kart 7, so very glad Wiggler's back. And then we have 4 characters who are not new to Mario Kart, but they are new to Mario Kart on the consoles. These would be Nabbit, Hammer Brothers, Charging Chuck, and Monty Mole. And these 4 characters were in Mario Kart Tour, but this is their first debut in an actual, honest-to-God Mario Kart, and I'm very, very, very pleased. Very, very pleased. I've said it before in my last video, I love taking generic, normal, basic-ass enemies and putting them in situations where they're playable. I think that's so fun. I think it's a really cool concept in any game, and especially in Mario, when all of the character designs are usually pretty freaking awesome. Nabbit, love Nabbit, big Nabbit fan, and I think Nabbit honestly deserves to be one of the mainstays along with some of the other characters like Birdo, or, you know, the Wario and Waluigi's. I really think Nabbit has the potential to really shine as a character who's mysterious but still fun. And, you know, Hammer Bro, apparently Hammer Bro was planned for the Wii but was cancelled, so it's awesome that he's finally returning. Charging Chuck is just fun, and then Monty Mole is a lot of fun as well. So let's get in to the new characters. Now this is what we're all been waiting for. So we're going to start off with the non-bad guys. So there are 5 characters that have been revealed from Mario Kart World that are not part of Bowser's Minions. And that is the Pianta from Mario Sunshine. And then 3 animals. You have the Moo, the Penguin, and the Dolphin. And then the Snowman. I'm not as into these as a lot of other people are. I will say it. You know, I'm not that big of a Moo fan. You know, like most of the internet has been recently. But I do like Piantas, and I do think the Dolphin's very funny. And I actually do quite like the Snowman. I actually do quite like the Snowman because it reminds me of Mr. Blizzard from the various spin-offs like the Paper Mario series and the Mario Party series. I think he's just called Snowman. I don't think he's called Mr. Blizzard, but in my headcanon, he is Mr. Blizzard, and that's not something that you can do about it. Now let's get into some of the bad guys. These are my favorites, and looking at the list, we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 new bad guys. And oh man, this is some delicious stuff. This is some juicy, it's good. We have the Goomba. Love the Goomba. Very glad the Goomba's here. It's his big mainstay. He is the quintessential Bowser enemy next to the Koopa Troopa. And the Koopa Troopa has been in Mario Kart since the first Mario Kart. I think he's only missed 64. So, it's great that he's back. Or great that he's in for the first time. Not even back. Love Goomba. Love Goomba. Piranha Plants. Piranha Plant has had a lot of weird love recently. He was in Smash Brothers. He was in Mario Tennis. He was in all these sorts of games. Not PD Piranha. We'll get to that. But Piranha Plant. And hey, that's cool. I like me a Piranha Plant. I thought he was a lot of fun in Smash Brothers. So yeah, good that he's here. One of the funnier ones, we have the Cheep Cheep. Literally just a fish. It's just a fish. We'll get into the dead fish, but this is just a fish. So we got the fish in the car, and see, it was obviously you have characters like that we're gonna get into, like the Sidestepper or the Sting Bee, that really makes you think, wow, they're throwing anybody in this game. I wonder who else they could add. And then you see the Cheep Cheep, and you see the Fishbone, and you see the Pokey and the Conkdor, and you're thinking, wow, there really is no limits. They don't have arms, doesn't matter. They can't breathe on land, doesn't matter. They literally do not move or have any facial expressions at all, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, they're in the game. And I think that is so good. I've been wanting characters like Pokey in my Mario sports games, or my Mario spin-offs for so long. So it's so good. But let's continue. We have the Pokey. I mentioned the Pokey. Pokey is up there for probably my top 3 to 5. Thinking about gonna be my mains, I'll say it. Spike honestly makes the most sense. Spike is one that I am not surprised about. Spike has been in a lot of different sports games. He's been in a lot of different Mario parties, and I think that he's just a really cool guy. And he has the body for Mario Kart. He has like that Toad, short, stubby, but still able to move body type. Unlike the Goomba and the Pokey, but Rocky Wrench, good contrast to the Monty Mole. I like Rocky Wrench. He's a cool guy. Not really too much to say about him, but I'm glad that he's here. Swoop is very, very funny. I think he's a very funny looking guy. The big old bat, or not even big old, he's a little bat. The little bat, stick him in a car. I got the Fishbone, which I discussed earlier, but I actually saw Fishbone when I was watching the trailer. Fishbone was one of the ones that I caught first. I didn't really catch any of these bad guys until I rewatched it, but I did catch the Fishbone, and I'll tell you, sports fans, watching Fishbone, excuse me, watching Fishbone get revealed for the new Mario Kart, I think I had a laughing fit and I nearly died. The Peepa, interesting that there's no Boo. I guess it's covered by King Boo. But we have the Peepa, which I'm glad. I think that I felt this way during Mario Tennis. Mario Tennis Aces, they had the Boo and they had the Mirror Mansion, but Peepas were just relegated to the background characters. I think that's unfair. I think Peepa could be a palette swap for Boo. He's not that different body shape and doesn't even need that different animations. Just give him a different laugh, no tongue, and then I think he's good. So I'm glad Peepa's here. We have Sidestepper. Sidestepper was from the original Mario Brothers, and he's been in several games. He's been, most notably, he's been, hazards in Mario Kart tracks. But I honestly really like that he's here. I think that it's really cool to have characters from bygone eras, even though they're still around. They're from the ancient times, and honestly, that might make Sidestepper one of the oldest characters in the roster. Which is cool. I'm glad he's here. Three of my personal favorites. We're gonna just go three of them all at once. The Sting Bee, the Coin Coffer, and the Parabitty I loved, and I still love, Super Mario 3D Land. It's one of my favorite 3DS games, and it was my first 3D Mario. I think it was my first Mario, period. And I love the heck out of it. So all of those enemies are very, very close to me. Very, very important to me. So I'm very, very happy that they're here. I love them very, very much. We have Conkdor, which, admittedly, not as big of a Conkdor fan as from 3D World, which I didn't play until much, much later. And I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of his design. I think he's cool. I think he's fine. But nowhere near on the same level as the Goat Coin Coffer or Sting Bee or Parabitty. And then finally, the Cataquack, which is probably the most. I honestly would say Cataquack is probably the most obscure pick, even with like Fishbone or Snowman or Moo Moo or Dolphin, because Cataquack hasn't been in a game outside of I think a few Mario Kart hazards since Sunshine. So it's good that he's here. It's good that he's here. But I want to talk about characters that are missing from Mario Kart World, and do I think that they'll get added? I think this would be a cool discussion, and I hope that you respond in the comments. I would like to hear your thoughts and have a nice little discussion. I want to form a community, so let's do that. So let's go down the list of the missing. From Super Mario Kart, we have Donkey Kong Jr. Will Donkey Kong Jr. get added? Probably not. Well, first off, I have this split from characters that are missing and then characters that are missing but could easily be a costume, since costumes are a big part of this game. So we're going to go through the actual characters, and then I'll mention the costume characters that could be added. So we have Donkey Kong Jr. is one of the first characters. Now, this one kind of breaks the rule a little bit. I think Donkey Kong Jr. could be a costume for Donkey Kong, if that's something that they want to do. However, doesn't necessarily look like they're going to. Not for any reason in particular. I just don't think they will. Because, well, they haven't since since Super Mario Kart. Like, they did have that one tour thing. But we'll keep going with the Kongs. We'll just go ahead and knock all the Kongs out. We have Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, and then from Tour was Dixie Kong. None of the Kongs aside from Donkey Kong made it into the trailer. Do I think that they will make it in? I think Diddy Kong will. Well, actually, I don't know. If they have a new design for Donkey Kong, and none of the other Kongs are brought up in the new Donkey Kong Bonanza game, it's possible that they may skip out on all the Kongs aside from Donkey Kong because they A, don't want to reveal their design, B, don't have a design, or C, they just don't want to. I think if anyone's going to get added, it's going to be Diddy Kong. You know, that's a real big, proud statement there. But I think actually more than likely Donkey Kong will be the only Kong. But I guess we'll see. A character I'm a big fan of, Koopa Paratroopa, big Koopa Paratroopa fan. I think that this is one of those cases like Donkey Kong Jr. where it could be a palette swap, or it could be a costume for Koopa Troopa, especially if costumes have different animations, but I feel like it's different enough that it would be its own character, and so unfortunately I don't think Koopa Paratroopa will return, which hurts, because I love Koopa Paratroopa. Probably the one that I'm most surprised about, Petey Piranha. Petey Piranha was in Double Dash, missed out every game up until getting returned in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the DLC pack. Big Petey Piranha fan, love Petey Piranha. Petey Piranha, King Boo, and King Babam, which we'll get to, are some of my favorite bosses in Mario. I think it's a whole lot of fun, and I really hope that we see them. I really hope we see Petey Piranha. I think Petey Piranha is pretty likely. I think Petey Piranha is pretty darn likely, especially considering, we have King Boo, we have the Piranha Plant, and we have, the fucking Sidestepper. So I think Petey Piranha is pretty likely. Another character I think that is extremely likely is the Miis. Miis are not dead. We can see that from the Tomodachi Life 2. Miis are very much alive. Apparently they are in the Switch 2. I haven't seen that personally, but apparently they are. So I think Miis will return. Miis have been in every game since they released. And when I mean every game, I mean not just every Mario Kart, but I mean literally every game. They are in Smash Brothers. They are in the sports games. They are in every game, and I'm happy for it. I enjoy the Miis. They're fun. We have the Koopa Kids, the Koopalings. Unpopular opinion: I love the Koopalings. I think that they are awesome. I definitely understand the frustration, and I definitely get the criticism for them. I definitely am not against criticizing Nintendo for having, 80% of new characters being Koopalings. I think that that's lazy. I think they should step it up. But I cannot deny that I am a big Koopaling fan. Do I think they'll return? We did not see any of them during the trailer, and there's 7 of them. I am leaning towards they will probably not return, which sucks. I hope they return because they honestly are some of the more mainstay Mario characters, and I think that they deserve to be in the game. But I digress. Honey Queen. Honey Queen will not return, and it will stink, because I like Honey Queen. I'll say it. I'll speak the truth. I enjoy Honey Queen. I definitely did not play as her ever, and I remember unlocking her in Mario Kart 7 before I even knew Galaxy existed. And I remember thinking, what the hell is this character? This is a waste of time. But I think she's charming. I think she's fun. But she probably will never return in any Mario Kart game unless they pull a Smash Brothers Everyone is Here. So I'm not holding my breath for the Queen. Kamek. I really thought Kamek was going to be a mainstay forever now. He was supposed to be in 64, never got into any game until he finally made his big debut in the Booster Course Pass DLC edition, and then immediately they shot him in the head and reduced him to some kind of item. Now, it is possible he could be in the game. I know he's technically a species, but I see him more as a character. And so, I mean, Lakitu, he has his version of the host as well as the driver, and I guess I could do that for Kamek, but I don't think they will because Kamek is leaning more towards a character rather than a species like Lakitu. So I think unfortunately Kamek will not return, which will suck. And then we have the non-Nintendo characters: Link, Villager, Isabelle, Inkling, and Rob. I hope, and I hope with all my might, that Rob returns. Rob is my most wanted returning character from any Mario Kart game because he was my #1 favorite character to play in Mario Kart DS, which is my favorite Mario Kart. So I'm really just begging, #1 Rob fan, give us a bone, Nintendo. But I don't think it will happen. I don't think... Oh, Lord. I don't think any of these characters are going to return, at least not in the base game. I could see some DLC. But in the base game, at least, it really looks like they're really focusing on the Mario World and the Mario characters and the Mario Kart World. So I don't think that they're going to have any any non-Mario characters. So now we have characters that are missing, but were in Mario Kart Tour. So, a lot of people don't really think about them, but we have 3. I mentioned Dixie Kong already. We have King Babam. King Babam is probably in my top 3 most wanted. I love King Babam. I love Babams in the Mario series. One of my favorite enemies. And King Babam, he's so cool looking. He's so flashy. He's so fun. I think he's a great design. And I am really hoping that they bring him back in Mario Kart World for a proper debut. Another tour character that is missing is Poochie from the Yoshi series. I don't think Yoshi or Poochie is returning. I think that that's unlikely. I think that, bottom line is they're more Yoshi characters than Mario characters, and while they do cross over quite a lot, I don't think that Nintendo wants to focus on anything outside of core Mario, including the Donkey Kong and the Wario and the Yoshi. If it's not core Mario, I don't think it's going to be in, at least for the base game. And now we have some quick fire rounds of characters that are not seen but could very, very easily just be palette swap costumes, and I'm hoping that a lot of these are, because a lot of these characters were very annoying and very frustrating and very stupid in the base game in the game of Mario Kart 8 as a full-on character, but if they are reduced to a simple costume, then I think they're great. I think they're awesome and they should be in the game. The first 2 kind of go directly against that. I think these actually are 2 clones that could very easily be full characters, and I would not be upset, and that's Dry Bowser and Metal Mario. I think that these 2 are honestly kind of their own character and would not upset me nor anyone else if they returned as full-on characters. The rest do not get the same treatment. Pink Gold Peach, Tanuki Mario, Cat Peach, Gold Mario, Peachette, Captain Toad, Boomerang Bro, Ice Bro, Fire Bro, and then any and all Doctor variations for any of the characters, I think could very, very easily be costume swaps. You know, you could have Mario turn into Tanuki Mario. You can have Peach turn into Peachette. You can have, you know, Mario turn into Gold Mario. I'm noticing a lot of these are Marios and Peaches, so, you know, maybe add a few extras. One that I did not mention that I actually think would be cool, either as a costume or its own character, is Captain Toad. I think Captain Toad deserves to be its own character. I think Captain Toad should be its, at least in the game at some way. Maybe not its own character, but it should be in the game. And then the other one that I did not mention is a deep cut, but I actually really hope that they try this. And that's Robot Mario from the Mario Kart Arcade series. Mario Kart Arcade series has been mostly forgotten by Mario Kart, which makes sense. You know, it was a collaboration with Bandai Namco, and it was for arcades, which is difficult to do nowadays. But throw in Robo Mario just to show you remember him, show you remember the arcade games, and that, you know, not everything is off limits. And I have a whole bunch of characters listed that I think could be viable characters, but I think I'll save that for a separate video. Some of the ones that I've listed the most would be the Brutals, Cappy from Odyssey, Professor Egad would be really cool. Any of the Luigi's Mansion ghosts would honestly be really cool. Then I got a whole list of baddies. Some of my favorites, I'll list some of the ones that I would love to see the most. Would be the Bruiser, you know, the Womps and the Thwomps, you know, the Hop Chops and the Wada Wings and the Prongos. You know, just some cool character. Ninja. I don't know why Ninja's not in this. Ninja seemed like it'd be a shoe-in. Boom Boom and Pom Pom. Those are easy shoe-ins. They're in the other sports games. I don't see why Boom Boom and Pom Pom couldn't join Bowser's army in this one. But regardless, let's talk a little more generally about the roster. Yeah, as I've said, you know, all throughout this video and through other videos, that my favorite thing in any Mario sports game is being able to play as generic baddies in the games. Don't know why I think that's so fun, but it is. It is incredibly fun, and it is what makes those games for me. I would not be near as big a fan of Mario Kart if I could not play as Wiggler. I would not be really any fan at all of Mario Tennis Aces if there was not a very large selection of basic-ass baddies. And so this roster, I think it's perfect. I don't think this is everything. I think that there are more characters that they're going to show off in the Mario Kart World Direct in 9 days, which I'm very excited for. And I really hope that they announce more characters and they announce more baddies, because those are the best characters. Of course, I would love to see characters like Geno, characters that are actual characters, maybe Fawful, But if we're not going to get any of those, throw in more characters like Pokey. Throw in more obscure, deep cuts like the Bonefish. They're fun. And that's what I think this game really should be, is fun. That's what they really need to sell the system as. I'm really excited for Mario Kart World. I'm thinking about doing a little marathon on my own of just playing through all the Mario Kart games throughout the years. And I really hope that Mario Kart World lives up to the potential that I definitely think that it has. Especially with the open world, with the way the tracks look. It looks like the perfect Mario Kart game. This is literally a dream Mario Kart experience, and I'm so incredibly happy that it's a thing. And I'm very excited for the release date where I can get to see the full roster in its full glory. And honestly, I hope you unlock characters. I hope that the characters are unlockable. I hope that the costumes are unlockable. And I hope that the courses are. I want to play this game for years. For years and years and years. And I'm very excited for it. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I love talking about games, and this is a game that has been on my mind a hell of a lot. So, I hope you are as excited as I am. I know the price is a whole thing, but I'm trying to look on the positive side for now and be excited for a game that I think looks really good. So, leave a comment if you have any opinions on any of that stuff. I'd like to have discussions in the comments. I think those are the most fun parts about making YouTube videos. And hey, I don't ever ask for this, but, drop a subscribe if you feel like it. Help boost the numbers. It gives me a little dopamine rush. Like and share and hit the bell and all those other things that they tell you to do in every video. But yeah, well, thanks for joining me on this 25-minute long rant. I look forward to this game, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Bye-bye!